Hey guys, are you going to be able to go back to school this week or next week? Are you going to go back into the building where this happened?
Well, first of all, the freshman building is being torn down, but the rest of the school is staying up, and as soon as we can, we are going to go back into the school. As soon as they say school is on Monday, I'm going to be there. I'm pretty sure, unless we have interviews or somewhere to be, we are going to be at school with the people who need us. We need to stand with our peers. We haven't had time to stand with our peers through all of this. We've been working so hard.
Yeah. Baptist leaders are saying the pastor of the Sutherland Springs Church wants it demolished and turned into a memorial after Sunday's massacre there leaves 26 people dead. Our J.D. Miles talked to the victims' families about this.
It's surprising and noticeable just how much attention these crosses are getting since they first appeared late yesterday. Even some family members of the 26 killed have been compelled to come here as a gathering spot to share their grief and stories about their loved ones. Uplifting music and inspiring messages from strangers.
I don't know of anything else I can do except extend some sort of comfort.
Brought Charlene Ull out to the scene where her daughter Haley and 25 others are remembered on crosses, not far from where they died.
It's comforting, but none of them should have to be here.
Ull says her 16-year-old daughter planned to be a nurse.
She did.
She loved children.
She was going to make a difference in the world.
That changed on Sunday when an armed man took down the teenager and 7 other children during his senseless rampage.
When I dropped her off at church that morning, I gave her a kiss and I said, "I love you, I'll be back later." I want her back. She's amazing, and I just don't know how to live life without her.
The victim's mother says she fully supports the idea to tear down the house of worship, which would only be a painful reminder of a young girl's life taken too soon.
I think that's a good idea.
Why is that?
Because no one should ever have to go back in that church again.
If the church building is demolished, the pastor has told Baptist leaders he would turn the site into a memorial. In Sutherland Springs, J.D. Miles, CBS 11 News.
Clearly, the heartache continues in that town. We, of course, invite you to stay with CBS 11 as we continue following the investigation into the worst mass shooting in Texas history.
I said the day that it happened, I was standing here splitting firewood, and, you know, the whole thing went down. And it's been really, really tragic.
This is the view from Bill Clark's home. Of the demolition of Sandy Hook Elementary, the site where 20 children and 6 adults lost their lives last December, is now being torn down.
I lived in town for 54 years. I've lived on the street my whole life. We're a very strong community, and we're going to overcome this. We're going to move on, and they're going to put up another beautiful school, and we're going to move on.
The town is eager to move on. People are being kept back from the construction site. Contractors were asked to destroy every trace of the building to protect the victims' privacy and keep people from taking debris as souvenirs. But there are still reminders around town of what this town went through.
For the sake of the kids that were there, the teachers that'll be there for years, even after the kids that were enrolled there then are gone, the teachers are still going to be there. And it was an old school to begin with. So yeah, tear it down and put a new one.
Why tear the school down? We could have just remodeled the 2 rooms.
The home of the Sandy Hook shooter was officially demolished. On March 23rd, the 3,100-square-foot yellow house belonging to the Lanza family was torn down. Adam Lanza lived there with his mother, Nancy, after the family purchased the home back in 1998. On the morning of December 14th, 2012, Adam shot and killed his mother inside the home before driving to Sandy Hook Elementary School, killing 20 children and 6 educators before committing suicide. The bank acquired the home following the shooting, but turned turn the property over to the city of Newtown. All items inside were removed and incinerated. Residents voted to demolish the house back in January, saying it was a constant reminder of the tragedy. Local construction company Manafort Brothers agreed to demolish the home for free, saving the town about $30,000. Town officials say the 2-acre plot will now remain as an open space. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Emily Mowry.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. This video won't be up for long. I'll be pulling it sometime today. Yes, I constantly am saying that, but I'm taking the right precautions. And for those of you who comment and say the title is clickbait if I say the video is going to be up for 12 hours, go screw yourself. This video is extremely important. It is important to show repetition. It is important to show people just why this common theme continues to go on and on and on in all these events that occur. Now, this video is protected under fair use and free speech, as I'm sure you've heard. Oh, wait, that doesn't exist anymore. But this is in no way applying hate speech to anyone. It is not implying that any of the events were not real. It's just a question that I have about what's with all the demolitions. Is it because the FBI comes in, decides after a few days that the investigation's closed, hands it over to the local authorities, and then suddenly, boom? I mean, it was only 3 days after the event, which occurred on, that holiday where people like to give each other Hallmark cards, that they were talking about a demolition. Now, these demolitions are expensive. For starters, some of these facilities that are being torn down will cost millions of dollars to replace. But that doesn't seem to be a big thing. Doesn't seem to be a big thing to go, you know what? Instead of just maybe doing a reno here or patching up some of the possible holes that could be in the walls or things like that, we're just going to demolish everything. Now, why do you think that they would do that? Why would somebody demolish anything? Ever seen the ID channel, right? And some of the things that go on there. What do they always try to do with the evidence, right? What did OJ supposedly try to do? I mean, think from that perspective, right? You try to get rid of it when you're quote unquote guilty of something. You try to say, all right, we don't need any private eyes out there. They certainly don't want people such as myself and others out there to do any type of investigative work. They're afraid somebody might show up there in 6 months and look around and try to maybe contradict the story that we've been force-fed. So why is it that you look at a certain place up in Connecticut, and the whole place gone? The alleged perpetrator, his home gone. Texas, within a day or two, elected to just destroy the whole church. And the response is, oh, it's not a big deal. We're just going to put up another one in a few days. In a few years, we'll build another one. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to have a brand spanking new $1 million facility. Things that make you go, And then you got 3 days after this recent event, and you've got them coming out going, well, we're going to tear down a specific building because remember, the school is for like 3,000 people. I mean, it's massive, massive. And like I said, you don't think they could just shove in some freshmen that no one's heard of who have just come over from 8th grade and oops, they're suddenly gone. Nobody even knew who they were anyway. Yeah, they couldn't. Because it's the freshman building which is being demolished. And again, nobody looked too emotional about that. It's more about, traveling around the world and getting on some of these big television shows and parading around and acting like heroes. It's a joke. All of this is a massive, massive joke. And again, I can't leave this up for long. I'm not insinuating anything, but if my subscribers to this channel, as they know, because we all feel the same, we're not insinuating anything. We're just saying, hey, these are some things that might want to be looked at. I mean, am I in Sylvester Stallone's Demolition Man. And I don't remember the plot of that. I don't even know if I actually ever saw it. But there sure seems to be a lot of things getting torn down. And the only reason I could think that any of these suspicious events that had occurred, that they would want to tear them down. Oh, is it, we're supposed to believe it's so emotional for the people? Like like they were in a specific room and they saw, oh, but I'm having flashbacks. Wouldn't you just, in general, of going to that facility every day, have an emotional, if it, you know what I mean? Think about it. It's something you would live with for the rest of your life. And to think, the lack of emotions that you see at all these events. I mean, I had a bird fly into my window a couple days ago. I didn't cry over it, but it's bothered me ever since. I was emotional about it. Having to bury the bird, it's horrible, right? I don't want to see that happen, the poor bird. He's just doing his thing and he flies into a window, right? It happens all the time. I find those types of things horrific. And they are emotional. I'm not going to break down and cry. I didn't really personally know the bird, but I don't want to see a living thing die. But I guarantee I had more emotion than most of these people over it. Just bothered by it. Because regular, normal humans are bothered by things. When they're real. Not saying it's not, but you get the drift. So again, folks, I just wanted to put a compilation of clips together in the beginning so you could see this common thread that everything just seems to be getting destroyed without proper investigation. And it's why? Because we live in such a soft society that, well, it's going to remind people, well, they're going to be hurt. Well, they don't want to go back to church or they don't want to go here because they're going to just remember the people that they love. Oh, so when they rebuild it, you're not going to remember the people. You're not going to care anymore. Huh? Yeah, that's how the brain works. Boy. And it's not hard to read between the lines. I mean, this is the kind of stuff where you show people and they should go, yeah, that is a little weird. I mean, why all these specific events, And it's not like the place in Las Vegas, where people go to gamble, where I think there's something that might have happened recently there too, involving gambling, wink, wink, where I'm sure they would have liked to demolish. But I don't think you can do that to a massive building like that. But maybe they will one day. Or instead, maybe they'll just distract people from ever talking about it again. Or not allow it. So this video is not going to be up long. But I needed to vent about it. I know it's risky to even talk about this stuff. This video will be on DTube after I take it down from YouTube. I just wanted people to see it. Because I know there's a bigger reach here on YouTube. And I know that, somebody who's trying to wake up a parent or a loved one or a girlfriend or a boyfriend, when you see repetition, it pulls your mind away, right? That's what I always say about all these music videos. And I constantly show people because then they can go, look, let's watch the last 5 music videos of Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, or Lady Barfbag, whatever you want to call her, whoever. Right? And you'll see the same stuff and people go, that is a little weird. Why is it the same exact stuff? Why are they flashing it? Because now they're watching it critically thinking. Well, the same can be said with stuff like this. Why is it that all these places are getting demolished before there could be a proper investigation? Oh, because we're told that the FBI, I mean, it's a joke. And the words covering up seem to fit the narrative well. So watch this video, share it, download it, put it up on your channel if you'd like, if you're not afraid of getting your channel taken down. I feel it's important. And again, this will be available on DTube, but this shouldn't be a problem. We should all be allowed to speak our minds on things and question things that we think are a little suspicious. I think personally, the fact that there's so many demolitions going on is extremely suspicious, and it's repetitive, and it's a common theme. It's almost as if they're afraid that people like me and you actually going to one of these places and doing an investigation on our own. Because it seems like more people on YouTube are becoming the new FBI and the new, CSI crime unit team here than people who actually have these titles and these positions. Because we know why. We know what fraternal orders they work for. We know that they don't really do any work. They just spend most of their time covering things up. So I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.